And good afternoon, everyone. We are here with our next conversation, and I think the shows are going really well so far. And we are here today with Joanna Vander Vlugt. I keep telling myself how to pronounce that name, so I'll probably just say Joanna for the rest of the show.
Perfect.
But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And to get everybody started here, let's tell them about the genre that you write in and the type of books or
Okay.
publications.
Okay. First, hello. Like I said, this is Texas, right? Hello to all your listeners. I write in the thriller genre. I used to be a assistant in the prosecutor's office here in Canada, actually in British Columbia. So I've always liked reading Dick Francis. I like reading and writing action. So the thriller genre, where I used to work, just seemed like a perfect fit. And I have a female heroine who's pretty fierce. She loves riding motorcycles. And she finds herself in the first book defending her ex-husband. And then he gets murdered. And she's trying to figure out, trying to get down to the bottom of it. So they're thrillers with a strong female heroine. Yeah.
Well, going with the ex-husband and trying to defend him, and then he gets murdered. I can almost see a little plot twist there about her being accused of it.
That's what happens. That's why she has to figure out what's going on.
So, with all this, what would you say would be your biggest inspiration for your writing?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I ask podcast questions, and I always ask a question like that, but I've never had it turned on me. The biggest inspiration, I would say, if it's my heroine, it's her quest for justice. Okay. For me personally, I've always written stories. I've always, as 13 years old. Okay, I'm really going to date myself here. I remember plunking away on my mom's manual typewriter. And originally, as a child, I hated to read. I really did. But it was just reading that one story that kind of changed my attitude completely. So and I started writing my own stories. So it was always, do I want to say in me, always kind of in me, wanting to write stories and just kind of disappear into that little, not fantasy, but into my own stories that I generated. Yeah.
Now, something about you also being an illustrator?
Yeah. So the writing and the art happened at the same time. Mm-hmm. So again, dating myself, when I was a teenager, remember we had supermodels, okay? Mm-hmm. And I used to, with charcoal pencils, draw all the supermodels. And it was fantastic. I love creating. So, I had actually a 20-year break when I wasn't writing as an adult. Like stuff happens, right, Greg? We know stuff happens.
Yes, definitely.
Right? And when I started back again with the art, the writing soon followed. And I really do enjoy illustrating motorcycles, and I've actually sold motorcycle illustrations to um, people in Texas, in Alabama, and different US states, and in Australia. And this is going to sound kind of nerdy, but so I'll have the photo of a motorbike on my phone. I'll enlarge the photo. I'll draw out the bike, and
Mhm.
I use Copic markers to add the color. And there's just something really cool when you can look at a red gas tank, and when you blow it up, you see all these other colors in it, depending on how the sun reflects on that gas
Mm.
tank. Okay. So that's when I started writing again. My heroine, I remember, just to make her more of a complete character, I thought, why not have her ride a bike? So that's what she does. She gets to and from work. She's a lawyer, ad hoc prosecutor. She's riding her bike. Yeah.
So I have to ask now, do you actually own a bike or
No,
no?
I have. Oh, I have thought about it, and I even um, in Canada we have a manual that you can get from like your local motor vehicle branch, and I printed the manual because I was
Mhm.
thinking about doing the learning the test. I do have my favorites, and they're the cafe racers that I really like. The Royal Enfield bike, the Nortons, big fan of those bikes. Um, but no, I don't. I have a 10 speed.
It's just a little bit different.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like that might be something of a future endeavor for you.
Yeah. Well, I see the ones that have three wheels now, even, right?
Hmm.
But part of me thinks that's not a real bike. Like, so, anyways.
We won't tell them that though.
Yeah.
Uh, now, let's go to your podcast because you have a podcast too.
Yes.
What's that about?
So I interview authors. It originally started with interviewing artists and authors, but um, more authors started contacting me. I've had authors contact me from Scandinavia asking if they can be on my podcast, right? And I am fully booked. I can, just like you, right? Fully
Mhm.
booked to the end of the year, and I will be discussing with. I work with Creative Edge Publicity, and I will be discussing with Mickey the next year, right? So
Mhm.
I interview authors, and I never thought I'd be a podcaster. Just one of my favorite podcasters is Mark Maron. Okay.
Mhm.
I listened to him, and it was uh, it was a need to connect with people during lockdown, during the beginning of the pandemic. And it grew. And what I noticed was, as much as I wanted that connection and talking with people, other people did too, and I think it was just one announcement. I belong to the Crime Writers of Canada, and it was one announcement in a newsletter that I started getting emails coming in of writers just wanting to connect and talk about their books, talk about their writing. Yeah.
It was a hard time for everybody then
Oh God, yeah. Uh,
because there was no place to really express yourself. You couldn't go anywhere to express yourself. You couldn't go and get the mindset that you needed to write. You were basically stuck at home.
yeah. Yeah, and I remember, I don't know how it was in Texas. Um, I just lucked out in having a book signing the end of February, and I had all these options for dates in March. And then it was like, boom, right? Lockdown in March.
Mm.
And then one other thing that was, I don't want to say was kind of cool, but during lockdown, I like running. So early morning, I would get the dog and we would run. And it was just like there was no one around. It was kind of cool and it was kind of eerie, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, is this cool or is this going to be a horror movie?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Don't become part of your own thriller now.
No, no, no. Ugh. I'm glad I didn't think that then.
Yeah, gotta keep the mind going.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So you talked about being part of the crime writers. What was that like joining that?
It was great. There are two actually writing organizations I belong to. So the Crime Writers of Canada is of course, it covers all of Canada, and they have different events. They'll promote the author. There are associate membership. I know of an author from Malta who belongs to us as well. Okay.
Hmm.
His name is Mark M.N. Grenside, and he used to be a producer. Well, he may still be a producer. He was a producer in Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
and he is writing books. And he just wrote Fallout, and he was on my podcast. Okay. Another great organization, which is Canada and American, is Sisters in Crime. So we have a chapter west. There's Sisters in Crime chapters all throughout the U.S. And that is a fantastic organization to belong to. Lots of workshops, lots of chances to connect with other authors. And yeah, they're really good. They're really good.
So going a little bit back to your books, do you have a favorite one that is it just the motorcycle or
It's the current one I'm working on rewrites. Okay.
mm,
So you know, when they say some actors, I think I saw Brad Pitt say this once in an interview, where some actors say they can't watch themselves on film.
mm-hmm,
So with me, I write a book. You do the rewrites, you get it to your editor, you do more rewrites, you polish it. Once it's out, I read it like before it is released. So when I get the proof, I'll read it from beginning to end, and I should feel happy. I do. I remember feeling. I always feel happy when I read the proof,
mm-hmm.
and then I say, "Yep, that's really it's released." Um, but I won't go back and read it again. I've moved on to the next story. So
Yes.
each one has been a favorite at that time. And so then now with this third one, I'm taking a step out of my comfort zone, and I'm laying the groundwork where my heroine, Jade, she's actually going to become a spy. Okay. And it's again listening to spy podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
It's realizing that spies aren't necessarily Mission Impossible. Okay. Right.
This is
And
true.
yeah, and it's fascinating, just what some of the I'd say down to earth tactics that are used. So it's neat. This current one, it's called Spy Girls. It'll be coming out in late April of 2023, and it's really cool for me to see Jade as she's investigating a murder that has links to espionage go in that direction. Yeah.
That will be fun.
Yeah, it is. And I've got some pretty I don't want to, I don't know what the rating is, but I'll just say kick butt female spies. Yeah.
This show, you never know what's going to come out of our mouths. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to give any words of advice to somebody who's an aspiring writer, or what would that be?
Right. Okay. Different writers tackle writing. Every writer tackles writing differently. Some will write 3 chapters, go back, rewrite, and then keep going. I can't work like that. I guess don't believe that one way of writing is the only way to write. Okay. I know authors who plot. They know that story from beginning to end. They may change things up. I have plotted a novel from chapter to chapter. And then by the time I got to the very end, I thought, okay, I know what happens. I don't want to write this anymore. So
Mm.
I will, I will literally write scenes, and they may not even be in order, but it's almost like the scene that's like really has me excited, and it's just like get it down on paper, and then after you have, let's say, 60, 70,000 words, and you're kind of wanting to I remember that's usually at the point where I'm like, okay, I better go back and kind of see what I have written. you know
Mhm.
And the other thing I've done, which I don't think it's mentioned much, sometimes I will write. I know I have these scenes in a certain order, and I almost like get to the 3/4 mark. And then I
Mhm.
think, okay, I got to tackle it from the end, and I'll write the ending, and then I'll work my way backwards until I join up with that 3/4 mark. Yeah. So just don't believe that there's only one way to write. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Now, where can people find you at?
Okay, well, it's real easy. It's at JC for cat, V Vandervlugt artstudio.net. And everything is there. My writing's there, my books are there. If you want to support local, you can even purchase my books off of that website. My podcasts are listed there as well, and some of my art.
Fantastic.
If you want to check out some motorcycle illustrations.
Is
Yes.
that correct there? Okay.
Oh, I have to give it's JCVArtStudio.net. Yeah, I'm not putting Vandervlugt in a web
Oh,
address.
okay.
Yeah.
We can. I'm not going to put myself on block. That would be www.jcvartstudio.net.
Yeah. .net.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. That one should be better.
Perfect.
There
Yeah.
we go. So that's the correct one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they can find your podcast on which platforms?
Spotify, Apple, oh gosh, Stitcher. Yeah, wherever they're streaming, you can find the podcast. Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to thank you for being on our show.
Thank you. You're easy to talk to.
Hey, you should see me on a bad day. No. But everyone, thank you for joining. I hope you do watch the show later also. And of course, we are on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course, Twitch, depending on which show you're on. And tonight, don't forget, on the Con Hour, we have John Grimian, voice actor, and we are looking forward to talking